Hello and welcome! Silrace here with Star Citizen. And I feel like I had to make this video to address the feedback to my circling and jousting guide. It is in video form here on my channel as well, but I posted in a couple other places in text form, including my blog. And I had some interesting, at least to me, interesting feedback. So I want to address some of that. And I want to hear solutions. Solutions to... Because I had a few people, quite a few actually, tell me that the game would be boring if the grand strategy for fighter ships was again circling and jousting. If this was another flying game where circling and jousting were the main strategy of choice for fighting ships. Fighters essentially. Think 1-2-man ships like the Super Hornet, for example. And I can't for the life of me come up with too many different things you can actually do to create interesting combat than making it about circling and jousting, whichever your particular ship is adept at. So give me solutions. What would be non-boring combat style? Because I can't come up with too many of them on the top of my head. I mean, if we turn this entire game into a slower, where people move even slower, and make it about standstills and, you know, firing from massive distances, I wouldn't necessarily call that all that awesome. At least personally, I rather prefer a closer range dogfight, which involves the maneuvering in addition to actual ability to, you know, track your targets and shoot them, than just, you know, trying to shoot at something the size of a pixel from kilometers and kilometers away and hoping it doesn't move or hoping that you lead it correctly. And so forth. Well, obviously one solution is to make it so that players do not take active part in combat. That, you know, give the fluff and lore reason that, well, computers do combat so much faster than humans anyway. So players basically fly the ship and the combat does all the calculations, fires weapons and countermeasures and everything else. How many would actually find that fun? Even though it would actually probably be extremely realistic. Like, if you think about it, how computers have evolved within the last 10 years, by the time we are making space stations, people probably have no business whatsoever, you know, taking part in actual combat, because humans will always react slower than computers to various things. Anyway, if you look at space films and series like Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5, Star Wars, you always have dogfights, circling, jousting between the fighter ships, the small 1-2-man ships. It's the lumbering big ships, like think stuff like the actual battle stars or the base stars, or even the Babylon Station or a Star Destroyer. Babylon Station doesn't move at all. These are the things which do the whole, you know, we don't maneuver too much, we take hits and we trade hits, these big things. It's just the small stuff which essentially does the whole dogfighting thing, does a lot of maneuvering, protects their bigger ships from the enemy small ships, all this stuff. And for the life of me, I can't come up with very good ideas for, you know, interesting combat other than keeping it simple, circling and jousting. Because those two are prevalent, well, they were prevalent in human history as well, but they are kind of prevalent in the way they, you know, create interesting combat. And that's essentially what I want. This is a video game. I don't necessarily want realistic combat, I want interesting combat. That's just my opinion on it though. Anyway, like I mentioned, give me solutions if you think you have a good freaking idea. Give me solutions and I will definitely give some thought to it and maybe, you know, forward them all forward and maybe make another entire video talking about it if you have some really good idea. Thank you very much for watching and listening.